this is where our journey begins. From the Brazilian coast, in this very aircraft. Destination, a specific spot in the open ocean. Location, 40 degrees west and 21 degrees south. We're in the South Atlantic Ocean. We're about to meet something new, although it all started 10 years ago. And this is the product of a vision that's been pursued with creativity, daring, a lot of knowledge and responsibility. It was 10 years of designing, planning, and construction before the big moment. We are in the north area of the Campos Basin, approximately 75 miles away from the Espírito Santo coast. Below us, we can see the Parque das Conchas, also known as BC-10, an exploration block with an approximate 105 square miles area run by Shell Brazil in partnership with Petrobras and ONGC. Here, the challenges of prospection and construction are being replaced by the challenge of production in 4 oil and gas fields: Ostra, Abalone, Argonauta B West and Argonauta O North. All of those wells are situated in extremely deep areas in the ocean, where the distance between the seabed and the surface varies from 5,000 to 6,500 feet. Not even the sunlight can reach so deep. It is an absolute darkness. Nothing here is simple or easy.
The BC-10 field is a remote field out in the Campos Basin with no other infrastructure in the field. So instead of importing the oil back to shore through a different alternative, we use a floating facility offshore where we store the oil on board and then bring tankers in on a routine basis to offload the oil and take it to other markets.
Primarily, we had to figure out a solution for the low reservoir pressures and the heavy oils. So BC-10 has low reservoir pressure, where we had to develop a system to boost the pressure by over 2,000 psi at the sea floor to be able to produce the heavy oil. And then we had to figure out a way how to produce the heavy oil through the subsea system, commingle it, pump it back up to the FPSO.
So we're on the main deck of the Espírito Santo FPSO. FPSO stands for floating, production, storage, and offloading. The floating part is the whole ship, and the storage part is what we have here. So we have a series of cargo tanks that hold the oil.
An FPSO is actually a large converted tanker, and it has been converted with a full production facility on top of it. The advantage of an FPSO is that it actually can store the crude oil in the vessel. So it's being produced from the seabed in wells. From the seabed it goes to the FPSO, and then it's stored in the big old tanks from the tanker. And on top are all the processing facilities.
Total storage on the platform is 1.4 million barrels of oil. So we store that amount of oil on board, and then when we start getting full, we'll offload it to a tanker and sell the oil.
Shell, as an operator in the development of the BC-10, is proud to be part of the construction of a sustainable energy system in Brazil and throughout the world.
Shell has been in Brazil for a long time. I mean, in my career, I think we re-entered Brazil on the EP side with Merluza back in the 80s, and then when we acquired Enterprise in 2002, we picked up certainly Bichapir-Salima, an asset we're very happy to have now, but from a total country perspective, when you look at how long we've been in the downstream there, we've had just about a century of involvement in Brazil. It's been a long relationship.
So BC-10 is an opportunity to make Shell Brazil exploration and production a reality.
Brazil is one of the places where there's been great stability in regulation and government over a number of years, so we think that's a very good environment to invest, and the terms are acceptable and reasonably competitive internationally to attract investment in a global portfolio, so it's a good place to be.
Well, I remember when we first got involved in BC10 and I heard about gaining the acreage position in BC10, that must be 10 years ago, how exciting it was to have such an opportunity to get involved in the deep water in Brazil.
We wanted to open up new heartlands, and Brazil has tremendous growth opportunities.
It's one of the anchor projects for Shell in the region and also at the global level.
For Shell, this project has a very special meaning. This is the first time in the country that the company gets to be the main operator as of the opening up of the market. Over the past 10 years, a lot was learned and groundbreaking solutions were adopted.
Bom, o BC10 é considerado dentro do Grupo Shell megaprojeto, né? É projeto de grandes proporções. Isso em função principalmente do orçamento dele, né, do projeto, mas principalmente dos desafios dele.
For BC10, there's nothing easy. There's not one aspect of BC10 that we can say, we've done that before, we know exactly how to do that.
Technically, we have been successful. We've got a lot of challenging technical challenges with this project. Subsea hammer operations where we drive the conductors ahead of the time before the rig gets there. Submersible pumps, seabed pumps that we're going to install on this project as a new technology is going to be another challenge. And surface BOP operations where we are completing the wells with surface BOPs. It's the first time this has ever been done in the industry.
A palavra que melhor define BC10 é desafio, né? Desafio no lado técnico, desafio no lado humano, né?
It's a global project. The project team is scattered in almost 4 continents, and we, with different time zones, sometimes the difference reaches to 14 hours.
As pessoas têm interesse em descobrir as culturas dos outros grupos no nome da diversidade.
Being an Egyptian, working for a European company with a branch here based in Houston, in a Brazilian project, that's quite a challenge.
I like challenges. Challenges are fun. They get you out of bed in the morning, and as long as you work as a team to overcome the challenges, then you can achieve great things.
I like working on difficult things. If life is easy, it's not fun anymore. So I'm really enjoying the project. I'm really enjoying learning while we're working on the project, seeing different things, seeing new technologies, and trying to come up with the best solution for the field and for the project.
And it takes a lot of perseverance to work on a project for so many years and to see it come to fruition.
I've learned a lot about working in groups of different backgrounds. I hope I can transplant some of the learnings in terms of the way people do things in South America also to other parts of the globe.
The energy of oil and gas is still absolutely necessary for mankind, but the easily accessible sources are few. Therefore, the BC10, with its technology for exploring under very deep waters, is a milestone both to Shell and Brazil. Wells between 5,000 and 6,500 feet deep, with different types of crude oil, gas in some of the reservoirs, miles of distance between these spots, the FPSO and the continent. No outflow infrastructure, high seas, isolation, waves, storms. We had to gather the very best in technological and engineering solutions available worldwide.
Today we're in FMC in Rio. In this facility we are fabricating the tubing head spools and the trees We're fabricating the plets, which are the pipeline end terminations, a lot of the subsea distribution hardware, and behind me we have the manifolds. These are the artificial lift manifolds, artificial lift manifold 1 and number 2, and maybe we can go on board and I'll show you how they work.
BC10 is a unique project, there's no question about it. Why is it unique? First of all, we're going to install on the bottom of the seafloor pumping stations.
What happens is that the oil and gas together will come around and sweep through this loop into the MOBO. The MOBO is the module of boosting, and this is where the subsea separation takes place. The gas will go up through the gas line. The oil, however, will go down 100 meters. Below here, there's a 100-meter caisson with the ESP in the center. The ESP is the electrical submersible pump, and the oil will come down and then get pumped back up through the center and then get transferred back up to the FPSO through the oil line.
On the subsurface side, so below the seafloor, what makes this project unique is that all of the reservoirs are located very shallow below the mud line, below the seafloor. Which means that a piece of metal pipe, which is rigid, needs to be able to go and bend horizontally within 800 meters of depth.
Oil and gas flow from the reservoirs through the wells into an equipment known as Christmas tree. From the Christmas tree, they follow, protected by a thick insulating layer that keeps their temperature higher than that of the seawater, and then they pass through the jumpers and plets. Flowing over the seabed, oil and gas reach the large central, located almost 2 kilometers deep, known as production or separation manifold. Inside the separation manifold is the MOBO, where the initial separation of oil and gas begins. It is the first time this technology is used in deep waters. From this point, oil and gas follow different paths, although both reach the same destination, the Espirito Santo FPSO, capable of producing 100,000 barrels per day and storing almost 1.5 million barrels. In this global project, industries from several countries supplied the components. The Espirito Santo FPSO was built from an old tanker in Singapore shipyards. In 24 months, a radical transformation took place.
In Singapore, we had over 2,000 people working on the vessel every day. A lot of people and a lot of work going on, a lot of scaffolding, and very difficult to see what actually the broad lines of the facilities look like.
And to coordinate all of that effort, that takes quite a bit of time. We have equipment from the US, from California, the power generations for the gas turbines. We've got equipment from all over Europe. We've got equipment from Brazil, and then a lot of local equipment from Asia that is also integrated in the vessel. So geographically, the project has been spread out across the globe. It really takes a concerted effort to bring those components together and have them function as designed.
The MOBOs, manifolds, plets and jumpers were fabricated in Rio de Janeiro. The umbilicals, extremely long cables that supply energy and control the equipment in the seabed, came from the small Panama City in Florida, USA. You can barely believe that each part was made in a different corner of the planet, and that when they got here, all of them fit like a glove.
We've been going down the starboard side of the ship, and now we're coming up to the bow. That's the turret, which the vessel rotates around. The turret is actually moored to the seafloor, so there's 9 mooring lines that are attached to the seafloor that keep it in position. Okay, then also inside of it we have all of the risers. So there's 7 flowline risers and 3 umbilicals that are coming up into the turret. So that's how the production comes up in the turret, and all the control systems go out to the wells. Okay, and so the FPSO actually swivels around the turret. The turret's fixed to the seafloor, and the FPSO floats and changes position as the wind and the waves change direction. So
It's called weather veining, so it just goes around however the wind and waves go, but the turret itself is fixed to the seafloor and rotates around it.
We're on the gantry deck of the turret, and after the oil and gas is produced subsea, it actually comes up here into the turret below us and passes into the swivel that's right behind us here. After it passes through the swivel, it enters the production train on our topsides facilities here.
We know that we don't know the reservoir, yeah? We got a feeling, it could be this, it could be that, but we don't know.
To have only a penetration of a few inches in diameter and be able to extrapolate it over kilometers and kilometers of area takes quite a lot of vision and experience of our subsurface experts.
So there is a continuous tension between this range of uncertainty. It could be this bad or it could be that good, and what you actually find when you drill the wells, and how you react on what you find when you drill the wells. How am I going to steer? Should I go a little bit deeper? Should I go a little bit shallower? Should I go left, right? You know, those decisions that you have to take at 2 o'clock at night when somebody gives you a call, we'll find this and where are we going? That is managing uncertainty at the forefront of this project.
The room we're in now is the central control room. All the information from the BC-10 project and FPSO comes into this room. All the information then runs through the computers and then is displayed on these monitors. Yes, 24/7. The most difficult thing here as a control room operators, there's a lot of information comes in here. So you have to understand and decipher the information that comes in, and then also know how to react properly to each one of these alarms that comes in here.
One of the most important aspects of all of the team members was that they had complete and total dedication to safety.
With BC-10 starting it up, there's an opportunity to build the HSE or the safety culture from day one the right way.
Security is the #1 priority in reality, because without security you don't really have anything. So you can always replace the oil. The oil's been in the ground for millions of years. It can wait a little while longer, but the people you can't replace. So,
The exploration of oil and gas fields requires absolute safety, not only for the people, but also for the ocean. The entire BC-10 project was based on an environmental impact analysis.
Uma das grandes conquistas do projeto BC-10 para essa nova fase dele de produção foi a conquista da licença prévia, que foi em meados de 2006, após a audiência pública, apresentou ao público o nosso projeto, apresentou ao órgão ambiental o nosso projeto e foi entendido por eles que o nosso projeto era ambientalmente viável, certo? Que podia ir adiante.
O que a gente considera performance social na Shell é o que a gente traduz como respeito aos chamados vizinhos. Ou seja, a gente identifica quais são os grupos de pessoas que podem vir a ser impactados pelo projeto e aí a gente começa a construir um relacionamento com essas pessoas para entender não só quais são as preocupações que elas têm, mas também informá-las sobre os eventuais riscos do projeto, os potenciais impactos dos projetos e como a gente pode trabalhar junto. Conosco nós tivemos sociólogos, nós tivemos economistas, nós tivemos especialistas em política pública, nos ajudando a justamente entender quais poderiam ser as áreas de foco dos projetos e quais teriam um pouco mais de chance de sucesso, por exemplo.
A gente é uma associação, né? E a gente produz, planta e colhe e no final é tudo dividido em partes, né? Esse exemplo, gente vê desde as pequenas associações até nas grandes corporações, né? Até você pensa, o cara é poderoso, tem muito dinheiro, não precisa, mas com certeza a ideia dele é sempre unir forças, né, para poder crescer. Né? Eu acho que a gente tem tudo para poder fazer isso de maneira, que é muito, é uma palavra que está muito em moda, fazer de maneira sustentável, né? Não é isso?
Shell, a company that needs people and only exists because of them. A company that knows that to preserve the environment is to preserve the future for everyone. A company where technology is a means to reach its goals.
I would define BC10 as collaboration. It really involves people at the end of the day to pull something as historic as BC10 off.
What I get the most satisfaction from is watching our people succeed and seeing how well they're able to work with others in bringing together something of this size and complexity, because it takes tremendous teamwork.
There's a lot of excitement associated with this. I mean, this is a project that's going to be around for 20+ years. It's just a fantastic piece of business. It'll be in the Shell portfolio long after I leave Shell.
I think the world will remember the fact that the technology steps were large and BC10 was at the front of making those steps. So yes, I think it'll be remembered.
Daqui a 15 anos, o BC10 vai ser lembrado como parte muito importante no crescimento da Shell Brazil.
In my mind, it's really critical because it brings Shell Brazil to a whole new level in terms of an operating unit.
Being able to do BC10 is hugely advantageous for us because it gives us that jump in terms of developing the technologies that we need to be able to realize some of these reserves, which 5 years ago were unheard of to think of producing in these water depths, these types of oils.
You need to have resilience, because not everything is like, let's say, the European way, very much planned. You have to have faith that things will come together, even at the last possible moment, or sometimes even a little bit beyond it. But therefore you shouldn't be too nervous. I mean, in general, things will work.
BC10, decisive not only for Shell, but for Brazil. For the strengthening of its economy, for the creation of new opportunities, and to guarantee energetic autonomy and sustainability for the future.
I think when you step back and look at the whole project, it's magical maybe, but when you're in the middle of it working every day, you forget about all that, you just get your job done.
I really have no complaints about being offshore other than being away from my family. And you've got to be willing to open up to it and not keep yourself aloof from everyone and everything that's going on. But if you do that, then you can really see it as your home. And home is where you are and where you make it. So you can make it here offshore if you want to.